Hey everyone, hope all is well. Welcome to today's video. So before getting started, I'll just request you that if you like our content with respect to B school preparation, ISB preparation and careers in consulting, so please, if you like that, please hit the subscribe button. It would really mean a lot. It's a growing channel and your support would help us in reaching out to more and more people. So let's get started. So today I'm going to talk about some don'ts when it comes to preparing for your ISB application. We are sitting in December 2023 right now. So a lot of people have just submitted their round 2 applications and they've started preparing for interviews, and others are preparing their applications and their essays for round 3, which will typically be around January 25th, the deadline. But this is applicable for both rounds of applicants, people who are preparing for interviews, people who are preparing their essays for round 3. So I have made a lot of videos on, when it comes to what to do when it comes to applying for ISB, but this time I wanted to focus on some things to avoid when it comes to applying for the school. So let's get started. Firstly, I think one thing to avoid is exaggeration beyond a point, right? So a lot of times people, what they do is that they exaggerate to a level which they can't justify in their interview conversations, right? So, for example, if somebody is working in EY and they have worked in a team project and they were a part of client calls and the deliverable, if they end up writing that they ideated the deliverables and they worked on their own and they led a team, that's exaggeration beyond a point, right? And that would be, let's say, an applicant who has 2.5 years of work ex, not more than that. So why am I saying this again and again is because if you're exaggerating beyond a point, some sort of exaggeration is fine, it's acceptable, it's important to get a shortlist, but beyond a point, if you exaggerate, you will be facing very painful questions in your interviews, right? ISB, unlike other Indian business schools, invites its alumni, not the professors, to take the interviews. These alums at least have 5-6 years of industry experience, and with so much experience and with people who have attended the program already, they have a mental bullshit detector, right? So they come to the room, to the panel, having read your application entirely. They have some 5-6 burning questions in mind that they want to ask you. And if you exaggerate beyond a point, they'll definitely grill you on that. Be it a work engagement that you talk about in your employment details, or be it a situation of success that you write about in essay 2, right? So exaggeration beyond a point is not at all advisable from my end. I've seen a lot of good people getting rejected after the interviews because they could not justify something very heroic that they had talked about in their applications, which was not advised by me. So that's one, right? So, and the second thing which I really wanted to talk about is that, a lot of people have this perception that I'll give my GMAT, GRE first and I'll later on write my essays 2 weeks before the deadline. That's not advisable. I'll tell you how ISB evaluates its candidates. So there is a certain percentage, a weightage of evaluation given to GMAT or GRE score, a certain percentage given to your past academics, a certain percentage to your essays, a certain percentage to your quality of work ex, a certain percentage to, diversity pointers also. If you are coming from a law or an army background, then you get diversity pointers, right? So, and people don't know this, but essays have an equivalent weightage now as the GMAT or GRE. That being said, I don't mean that don't focus on GMAT or GRE. But my request is try to carve out a couple of hours per week for your essays, at least 6 weeks before the deadline, right? Instead of pressurizing yourself into writing the essays, and these are difficult essays were changed this year. Pressurizing yourself into writing the essays 2 weeks before the deadline is a horrible decision, right? Write your essays, start writing them, start focusing on what to write, brainstorming and writing the initial drafts. at least 6 weeks before the deadline, right? So only a couple of hours per week would be fine. So you are doing your job, you are preparing for GMAT daily, and a couple of hours per week would be sufficient for you to finish off the essays in a very satisfactory manner. Why am I saying this? Because we mentor a lot of people for ISB, and these are very good people who end up getting good GMAT, GRE scores also. But when I'm writing their essays with them for them, I believe that if she had or if he had come to me at least 2 weeks before, I would have been able to brainstorm a little more, write better stories for them, discuss more with them. Writing your essays a month before or 2 weeks before the deadline means a lot of chaos, right? Which leads to shitty essays, subpar essays, and then you realize that you could not get the shortlist even though your GMAT score was good because essays were not good, right? So keep that in mind. The formula is at least 6 weeks before the deadline, 2 hours per week. That's sufficient, right? With respect to essay writing in parallel to your GMAT GRE prep. Now, the third thing, which is a little more specific to the essays, is that this year ISB has made the goals essay optional, right? Goals essay means that every B school typically asks you that what are your short-term and long-term professional goals, and how will ISB or any other school help you in achieving them. Now, this is optional. Why? Because the school realized that a lot of people, when they're applying for ISB, they have no idea on what they want to do, right? They don't know if it's consulting that's their calling, or if it's product management, or if it's general management, or something else, or marketing. So the school has made the essay optional. If you're not super clear on your goals, you can choose to not write the essay, not attempt the essay. It will not impact the evaluation when it comes to the shortlisting stage for interviews. So only if you're super sure, at least on your short-term goals, right? Then feel free to attempt the essay. Otherwise, don't. If let's say you write consulting for the sake of it, just to complete the essay, and you're not really hell-bent on consulting, or if you don't really know what consultants do, you will be grilled in the interview, right? So mentioning a career aspiration in the optional goals essay for the sake of it, just to complete one more essay, is a horrible decision. It's a bad decision, right? And a second part of this suggestion is, it's good to be very specific when it comes to short-term goals, at least in terms of the industry you want to go after. For long-term goals, it's okay to be vague. It's okay to be ambiguous, right? So a lot of people have this combination that initially I'll do consulting and eventually I'll do something of my own. So when it comes to explaining your long-term goals, you can leave it at that I want to build something of my own. You don't need to be very specific that I'll build my own e-commerce venture or bakery venture or FMCG venture or a tech startup. You don't need to be specific unless, let's say, you have 10 years of work experience, right? So it's good to leave it at entrepreneurship, or I'll just explore. But in short-term goals, write the essay only if you're very specific and hell-bent and you've figured out your post-ISB immediate career trajectory. So that is what I wanted to discuss in terms of don'ts when it comes to applying for ISB. I hope this video was helpful for you. I'll see you very soon. Thank you.